Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A great honor. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhakti Prem Maharaj. Thank you, Prem Avatar Prabhu, Sitanath Prabhu, and everybody. Aplog Sab Ki Jai. So, Hare Krishna. Well, I am very happy to be here with you all. Unfortunately, my Hindi is not good enough to give a class. Maybe next lifetime. मेरे हिंदी बहुत खराब है. Oh, बहुत खराब hai. But today we are here in Ujjain. We are in our festival, Shravan Utsav, and we're coming up to the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev. Very, very auspicious day. Auspicious day, because Lord Nrsingadev is the protector, and we know we need protection. We all need protection. And so today is not today, but we're coming up to the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev in 1 week. In 1 week, Tuesday is, at least here in South Africa, Tuesday is the appearance day. Appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev, and also it is doubly auspicious. Not only is it the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev, it is the disappearance day of Hiranyakashipu. So that is also the appearance day of the protector and the disappearance day of that person we must be protected from. So I will read. I have been asked to say something about the devotees and like that. I've been asked to say, let me just tell you the subject I was told that I should say something about. It is developing a shelter unto a pure devotee. Taking shelter, getting shelter, receiving shelter, and in this way being protected. So, therefore, I want to read two verses, maybe 3, we'll see, but at least 2. First of all, I want to read, it is Srila Prabhupada refers to it as a Nrsingadev Mula Mantra. Means a very foundational mantra, you could say, for addressing Lord Nrsingadev on the level of the heart. Mula Mantra means like that, like the root. The root, Mula, of course, means like that. So therefore, I would like to read, devotees, from Srimad Bhagavatam, from 5th canto, the fifth canto from chapter 18. Very amazing verse. Mula, Nrsingadev Mula Mantra. Fifth canto, chapter 18, verse 8. And then I'll read verse 9 also. All right, so this is verse 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasingaya. Namaste Tejase Avir Avir Bhava. Vajranaka Vajradamstra. Karmashayan Randaya Randaya. Tamagrasa Grasa Om Swaha. Abhayam Abhayam Atmani. Bhuyishta Om Shrom. Oh, what a mantra this is. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsingadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruit of activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Oh, Sri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. What a verse. This is such a powerful verse. And of course, it's all about shelter. The Lord is giving shelter. And there's a purport, of course. Well, let us read the purport. It's not too long. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.22.39, Sanat Kumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya karmashayam gratitam udgratiyanti santa tadvan narikta matayo yatayo pirudha shroto ganas tamaranam bhajavasudevam, which means devotees always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet can very easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you're advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to his fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti, devotional service, as follows. And yabilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires, which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, who killed Hiranyakashipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakashipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. He was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlad Maharaj until Lord Nrsingadev killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Nrsingadev, as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Tarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakaptarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Yes, so this is first verse that we'll look at. We'll look at least one, maybe two more. But this is a very important verse. This is very important verse regarding Lord Nrsingadev, because here our subject matter is shelter. And of course, shelter in the sense of getting the shelter from the pure devotees. But the pure devotees, they are not exactly giving their own shelter. They're giving the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this case, Lord Nrsingadev, giving protection, as Lord Nrsingadev, the great protector, gave Prahlad Maharaj. We are not we are not independent givers of independent shelter. Some shelter we just have ourselves, which we got from nowhere except ourselves. That is not Krishna consciousness. That is material consciousness. Material consciousness means, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that who am I? Ishvaroham aham bhogi, siddhoham, balavan, sukhi. This is material consciousness. Ishvaroham, I'm the controller. Aham bhogi, I'm the enjoyer. Siddhoham, I'm perfect. Balavan, I'm very powerful. Sukhi, as a result, I'm very happy. So this is, we would say in English, this is classic material consciousness, just perfect material consciousness. It's just hopeless material consciousness. So that was personified by Hiranyakashipu, as we read here in the purport, in the later part of the purport, the last few sentences, that Hiranyakashipu, his name means gold and very comfortable bed, comfortable facilities. And Prabhupada says, thus, Hiranyakashipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. Perfect representative of materialistic life, demoniac life. So, in that way, we can say that Hiranyakashipu, as the perfect representative of materialistic life, and indeed, you could say, practically like the original representative, certainly perfect, he is something like the founder acharya for the materialistic people, something like the founder Acharya. He is showing the example of perfectly materialistic life, and what are the results if someone becomes so strongly situated in material life. First of all, they get some success and some comfort, and they think everything is very nice. But then, well, yes, as Srila Prabhupada said about one very famous Indian, Mahatma Gandhi, we don't want to offend anyone because we know Gandhi is taken very seriously in India. But Srila Prabhupada said about Mahatma Gandhi that even though he was so famous, he was so influential, and millions of people were actually worshiping him, literally worshiping him. But Srila Prabhupada said that when his time came, when his karma reached that point where he should move from this life into his next life, then Mahatma Gandhi, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't stop that process. He was helpless. He was helpless in front of that process of the material world. So when his time came, he could not stop it. So then he was killed. You all know the story. We all know that story. So what Srila Prabhupada said was that when Gandhi's time came, that death simply came and threw him away, and just threw him away. And he couldn't say that, well, wait, I am Mahatma Gandhi, and millions and maybe tens of millions, or maybe even hundreds, but many millions of people worship me, so I am so important and influential. Therefore, special arrangement must be there for me that I do not have to go. Other people, they have to go when this time comes, when the time of death comes. But me, no. Different arrangement, because I'm very special. So, but no, as Prabhupada said, death simply came and threw him away. And that was all. Goodbye. So on the material level, this is what happens. And it happens to all. It happened to Hiranyakashipu also. Therefore I said, it's a little bit of a joke, you could say, but still it's true that the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev is the disappearance day of Hiranyakashipu, and he could do nothing about that. So that happened. Of course it happened because he was just a materialist in so many ways. But it also happened because he offended Prahlad. He offended the devotee. And ultimately, that was the particular point why at that moment Hiranyakashipu had to go from this life into the previous life, into the next life. Ultimately, at that time, at that particular time he had to go. He had already been for many, many years. He had already been enjoying gold and material comforts already. This was not something new. But offending the devotee, that was something newer. That was something newer. Just for a few years, he had been offending Prahlad. And most seriously offending, trying to actually kill just maybe some days. But when he started to do that, then Lord Nrsingadev decided, all right, that's all. That's all. Now you must go into your next life. We will see you later. Goodbye. And we'll throw you out. So he got torn to pieces. We all know the story. Torn to pieces. And then the Lord threw him off his lap. No ceremony. No glorification. Nothing. So particularly because he offended the devotee, he had already been living as a demon for many years. He had taken control of the universe and thrown out the demigods, they're also devotees, but not like Prahlad. They're not devotees like Prahlad at all. So therefore, Lord Nrsingadev did not react as he reacted. He did not react when the demigods were offended. It was aparad. But he didn't react like he reacted when Prahlad was offended. When Prahlad was offended, then basically immediately the Lord acted, more or less immediately. And he didn't just kill Hiranyakashipu, but he just totally destroyed him. Totally destroyed. As Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, verse 8, I'm sure you all know that verse, Paritranaya Saudhanam, Vinashaya Chaduskritam, Dharma Samstapanartaya, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, that of course he saves the devotees, he protects the devotees, but for the Duskritina, for the demons, Vinash. And it's a little subtlety of Sanskrit language, is that Lord Krishna says there, for the Duskritinas, what does he do with them? He vinash. You know, I'm sure it's the same in Hindi now, I know. Nash means to destroy, or it means destruction. But in Sanskrit, the prefix vi, vinash. Vinash means very, vi means very. So the Lord with the demons, he destroys them, but he doesn't just simply destroy them. He very destroys them because he doesn't appreciate, particularly their offenses to the devotees, and particularly the great devotees like Prahlad. So we have in the fourth canto, anyway, third or fourth canto, there's the description of how the Lord has his club with which he vinash, he destroys the demons. And therefore, on that club, there is the blood of the demons, particularly the offenders against the devotees. And the description is there that after the Lord has killed a demon with his club, and there's blood on the club, the Lord does not immediately wash the blood off. He leaves it for some time. And after that, before he washes the club, but after the killing of some demon, from time to time, he picks up the club and he looks at the blood on it and he remembers, this is the blood from whatever, some particular demon. And he feels, yes, that's good. Because the Lord feels, the Lord has emotions, and he feels for his devotees. The Lord's emotions are all connected with his devotees, and particularly his pure devotees. Positive emotions. And all the Lord's negative emotions, they're all in relation to those who offend the devotees. Just enjoying in the material world, he just lets them enjoy. He doesn't intervene. But when they offend the pure devotees, then he intervenes very, very strongly. And just another example I could give to illustrate this. It's from the description given, if I remember correctly, by Srila Rupa Goswami about the killing of Arishtasura by Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. That Lord Krishna killed Arishtasura. And so now there's Arishtasura, dead body on the ground, and he is finished. Hogaya. He's completely finished. But then Lord Krishna did not stop. Lord Krishna then kicked the dead body. And he kicked, and he kicked, and he kicked. Again and again and again and again. He kicked until you could not tell, what is this? The dead body. You couldn't see, look, there's the dead body of some demon. Srila Rupa Goswami says that dead body, after Lord Krishna kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked, the dead body looked like a lump of jelly, just some sort of unidentifiable big lump of matter. These are the feelings of the Lord, because the Lord feels, the Lord loves the devotees, and the Lord hates those who hate the devotees. And therefore Lord Krishna told Duryodhana, when Duryodhana was speaking badly about the Pandavas, and Lord Krishna interrupted him and told him to stop. And Duryodhana said, well, I'm not doing anything against you. I have no problem with you, but it's these Pandavas, they're too much. And Lord Krishna said, any friend of the Pandavas is my friend, and any enemy of the Pandavas is my enemy. So this is the position, and this is such a prominent, it's the most, obviously, most prominent and most vivid aspect of the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev and the disappearance of Hiranyakashipu and the position of Prahlad Maharaj. So, so this is the thing. The Lord protects the pure devotees. The Lord protects all devotees, but most particularly the pure devotees. And he protected Prahlad. But as we know, later, I mean, just immediately after at least, when Hiranyakashipu was dead and Prahlad Maharaj approached Lord Nrsingadev, and Lord Nrsingadev offered blessing to some benediction to Prahlad Maharaj, that you just tell me what you want. You tell me what you want. And Prahlad said, I don't want anything. I have you. I don't need anything. So thank you. It's all right. But Lord Nrsingadev said, no, I want to give you something. So you please ask. And Prahlad Maharaj said, my Lord, I do not need anything. I have you, so please don't ask me to accept anything. And Lord Nrsingadev insisted again, no, Prahlad, I want to give you something, you must ask. And then Prahlad, you could say, he sort of preached to Lord Nrsingadev that he said that if I am to serve you, but I need some payment, I need to be given something, and then I will serve you. And if you don't give me something, I will not serve you. If my position is like that, then I am not your servant. I am not a devotee. And if you, in order to get me to do some service, if you have to give me something, otherwise you will not get my service, then you are not my master. Then he uses the term vanik. I assume the word is still used in Hindi. Vanik means basically, in this context, businessman. We're just businessmen. You want my service, so you offer me. I will give you this. Then will you serve me? And I say, no, you must give me more. So then I'm not your servant. You are not my master. We are simply businessmen. But that's not our relationship, Prahlad said. Our relationship is, you are my master, I am your servant, and that's all. So I don't need anything. I don't want anything. And Lord Nrsingadev said to Prahlad, well, thank you for preaching to me, Prahlad. Anyway, he didn't exactly say that, but to the effect, something like that. Nrsingadev said, thank you, Prahlad, but I order you, you must ask for something. And then Prahlad, he's a devotee. He cannot disobey the order. So then he said, all right, then what I want is that my father, he was such a demon, and now he's dead, so surely he is on his way to hell right now. He is on his way, one-way ticket on Air India to hell, or maybe Jet Airways or SpiceJet. One-way ticket to hell, and that's it. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bad Melenge. See you later. Much later. And Prahlad said, so my request is, you please save my father from going to hell. So like this. And then, of course, Lord Nrsingadev said, you don't need to worry about that, because you're a pure devotee, already 21 generations, future and past. They're all delivered. It includes your father, so don't worry. So, like that, Lord Nrsingadev gave shelter, you could say. He gave shelter to Hiranyakashipu on the request of Prahlad. If Prahlad was not Prahlad, if he was not the great devotee, and if he was just an ordinary person, and Hiranyakashipu was just an ordinary demon, Hiranyakashipu would never have got that shelter of being delivered, saved. He simply would have gone to hell, and that would have been the end. But he got the shelter of Nrsingadev by the mercy of Prahlad. And this is what it means in our title here, that we must get the shelter of the pure devotee. Because the Lord's mercy follows the mercy of the devotee. And the devotee's mercy, the devotee carries the mercy. The devotee carries the mercy of the Lord. So there's this very intimate relationship between the Lord and his devotee. And when it comes to mercy, then of course the Lord, he's so powerful. He can give so much mercy, but he won't give. And he doesn't give unless the devotee wants that mercy to be given to someone. Like Prabhupada. We are all recipients of Prabhupada's mercy. Like Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He came to Ujjain, and what was Ujjain? It was famous old pilgrimage place, but that it was all more historical and not so much today that there was great mercy there. But then Bhakti Charu Maharaj came, and he was so dedicated to Srila Prabhupada and such a recipient of Prabhupada's mercy that he could distribute mercy and make big difference to Ujjain. Huge difference. Multiplying whatever mercy that was already there, from Sandipani Muni's ashram and all those places, which are nice, but they're not like vibrant sources of mercy. So it's the devotee. The Lord's mercy follows the mercy of the devotees. Always. Just like we have the song, very wonderful song, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More. I think you all know that song. Narottam Das Thakur. Oh dear Lord Chaitanya, please give me your mercy. Toma Vina Ke Dayalu. Without you, other than you, who? Ke Dayalu. Who can be merciful? Of course, the answer to that question is no one can be merciful. Toma Vina Ke Dayalu. Except for you. But then in the next verse, or not the next verse exactly, but a couple of verses later, Lord Nityananda, Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi, Kripa Bolo, Kanakoro, Ami Baro Duki. You please give your mercy. And then Advaita Acharya, you give your mercy. And then the 6 Goswamis, you give your mercy. And ultimately Srinivasa Acharya, you give your mercy. But he already said, Lord Chaitanya, Tomavina ke dayalu. Other than you, who can give mercy. But then he says all these other people, they can give mercy. So it's the same point, that those people, those other people following Lord Chaitanya, they're giving, they're like via mediums for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. If you ask them, whose mercy are you giving? Are you giving your mercy? They'll all say, no, no, no. I'm just passing on the mercy coming from Lord Chaitanya. Even Lord Nityananda says like that. Jiva Goswami says about, Srila Jiva Goswami says, if you ask Krishna, who is God? If you ask Krishna, who is God? Krishna points to himself and says, me, not me, but me, Krishna. Yeah, if you ask Krishna, who is God? Krishna says, me. But if you ask Lord Balaram, first expansion, if you ask Lord Balaram, who's God? Balaram can say me. He has the right. It is true. But Jiva Goswami says, if you ask Balaram, who is God? Balaram says, Krishna. And if you ask him, if you ask Lord Balaram, all right, then, well, who are you then? Who are you? Lord Balaram says, I'm a devotee of Krishna. And Lord Nityananda, the same point. Chaitanyera Dasa Muni, Chaitanyera Das. Chaitanyera Dasa Muni, Dasa Dasyera Das. I'm simply the servant of Lord Chaitanya, simply the servant of Lord Chaitanya. So like this, Prahlad, he got the mercy of Lord Nrsingadev in the form of, in different forms, first and most dramatically in having his life saved from the attack of Hiranyakashipu. So he got the mercy, and by his mercy, Prahlad, passing on the mercy of Nrsingadev, Hiranyakashipu got mercy. We all are getting mercy. And then finally, it's there in the 7th canto, in the course of the unfolding of the pastime, that Prahlad Maharaj, he tells Lord Nrsingadev that I will not do anything independent of Narada Muni. Prahlad says like that, my spiritual master, he may not exactly mention the name of Narada at that point, but that is the point, that I cannot do anything without the mercy of my spiritual master. So please don't ask me to do anything which may have any effect on my relationship with my spiritual master, which may even slightly separate me from my spiritual master. So Prahlad, having received this incredible protection in the most incredible way from Lord Nrsingadev, ultimately he says, wait, I cannot accept anything independent of my spiritual master. So therefore, in our practice of Krishna consciousness, we have to understand, we have to develop this perspective. Krishna consciousness is subtle. There are many subtleties in Krishna consciousness, fine points which we need to get. And if we don't get them, then we remain on a sort of, well, it's just not a properly nuanced position in Krishna consciousness. That we need mercy, we need protection, we desperately need mercy. We desperately need protection, as Prahlad needed, being attacked by his father. And that mercy, that protection came from Lord Nrsingadev. But ultimately, Prahlad knew that I got this because of my relationship with Narada Muni, my spiritual master. Even though the Lord is powerful and he has protected me with his power, but he only did that because of my mercy, because of my relationship, because I received mercy from my spiritual master, Narada Muni. So our position is the same, of course. Our position is actually the same. Therefore, one devotee said, just one of my godbrothers actually, quite some years ago, we were at Govardhan Hill, and it was late at night. We had just done big Govardhan Parikrama from before sunrise, like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. And we went slowly around, and we stopped everywhere and told every story and more. And we finished, it was about 8 o'clock at night. And we met this one devotee and we told him, what a wonderful Govardhan Parikrama. It was just amazing. We got the mercy of Govardhan, the mercy of Krishna. And the devotee said, yes. He said, Krishna consciousness is so nice. We must get into it and get the nectar. There's so much nectar from hearing and chanting and, in this case, doing Govardhan Parikrama. So Krishna consciousness is so nice and we must relish it. But we must never forget where we got it from. We must never forget where we got it from. So that connection, that always has to be there. The different connections which are there in our lives in Krishna consciousness. And ultimately, and it comes down to many devotees. There are many devotees who are helping us. Like Bhakti Prem Maharaj, he's helping many of you there in Ujjain. I know, definitely. He's doing a great service. You're getting mercy because of him. But he is not forgetting where he's getting the mercy from. How he's getting the mercy. Through Bhakti Charu Maharaj, through Srila Prabhupada. And this is parampara. And it goes back to Krishna. Yes, so shelter. Krishna consciousness means a process of shelter, of getting shelter. Well, first of all, of understanding that we need shelter. Without shelter, our positions are hopeless, worse than hopeless, impossible, just impossible. So we desperately need shelter. And then we try to find that and receive that shelter. This is Krishna consciousness. And this is, of course, there are many lessons we can learn from this pastime of the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev and his relationship with Prahlad. There are many lessons, but this is really the most prominent lesson, the most clearly established lesson of getting the protection from the Lord, even in the most dangerous situation. Protection can be there. But then still understanding that we're getting this protection by the mercy of the spiritual master and by the mercy of the other devotees who have got mercy from their spiritual masters. So there you go. And therefore, I'm sort of running out of time, but that's okay. I wanted to read the next verse also. In fact, I will. Let me just close by reading the next verse, and then we can see if anyone has some question or comment or whatever. But let me just read the next verse, 5th canto, chapter 18, verse 9. Swastyastu vishvasya kala prasidatam, jayantu bhutani shivam mitodya, manascha badram bhajatadad hoksajay, aveshyatam no matir apya haituki. This is another classic verse. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of him. So, now this is Prahlad, but both these verses are Prahlad. Both these verses are Prahlad speaking. And it's interesting that in the purport, we won't read the purport, but I'll just refer to the purport for a moment. How does Srila Prabhupada begin the purport? He says, the following verse describes a Vaishnava. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And just like a desire tree, a Vaishnav can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. And Prahlad is a typical Vaishnav. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons like his father Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj didn't ask for anything for himself, rather he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnav, who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. So anyway, like I said, we're not going to read. You can read it some other time. I would encourage you strongly to do so. But the point is that, as the verse says, all envious people to become pacified, everyone to become calm and peaceful and happy and satisfied through devotional service. And this is all coming by the mercy of the devotees, who are reflecting the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who are given power of attorney by the Lord to distribute his mercy to others. Hare Krishna. Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavana Ke, Shri Prahlad Maharaja Ke, Srila Prabhupada Ke, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj Ke, Go Premanande. Haribol. Aplog Sab Ki Jai. So any comment or question or something, just for a moment or two? Oh, okay. Okay, Ek minute. Oi, I will just look. Where now? There it is. Chat. Okay. Vasushrestha Das, Jai. Nayana, what is it? Ratri, Rajak, Jai. Okay, Jai. Let's see. Okay, what is this now from? Risham, is it? Ridam Patel. Ridam Patel. So, Anikashipu got shelter of launching day through Prahlad, but Anikashipu was not a devotee. By this indirect mercy on Hiranyakashipu, did he develop that love and surrender for the Lord, which devotees try to follow their whole life? Okay, that's the two questions then. And ultimately the answer is yes. Of course, excuse me, he was cursed. He was cursed by the devotees, the four Kamas. And that curse, the Lord insisted that that curse be respected. So he had to take birth 3 times. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, Jai and Vijay. So Ravana Kumbhakarna, then Shishupal Dantavakra. And each time, step by step, they became more purified. They became less bad. They were still bad, but they became less bad than the time before. And finally, they became they became the two Jagai and Madai. Oh my gosh. Jagai and Madai, the famous brothers. And there they got the complete mercy. It unfolded because of the special arrangement of the devotees, the four Kamas, because of their special arrangement through the curse, which the Lord accepted because they were devotees. But definitely, ultimately, they got the mercy, and as Jagai and Madai, they became such devotees, far more advanced than they had been as Jai and Vijay. So, also, we many times say that it's all about how to remember the Lord at the time of death. Doesn't that set the tendency of non-devotee, I say, to do later in life and not follow Krishna consciousness right now? Yeah, but the thing is, we are not meant to tell people that it's just time of death. That's it. Time of death, that's all. Get ready for the time of death. No. Prabhupada explained it, and it's so clear. It's like an educational process. If you go to school, you have to go to school for so many years. Then you can take the final exam. If you go to university, you have to go to university for 3, 4, 5 years or longer, depending on your course. And then you sit the final exam. Then you get the qualification. So Krishna consciousness is like an educational course. No, you cannot, at university, you cannot just go for the final exam. You have to go through the whole course. Otherwise, you try to do the final exam. You try to write the final exam. If you have not gone through the course, there's no chance. Obviously, there's totally no chance. So it's like that. We have to follow Krishna consciousness through our life, at least from the point where we receive it. Like me, I received Krishna consciousness initially directly from Prabhupada. Prabhupada was the first devotee who I saw. I didn't know what is Krishna consciousness, anything. Then I saw Prabhupada at the university where I was studying in New Zealand. So, yeah. So we have to follow the course. And then we can pass the final exam, which is the time of death. So we need to preach to people like that. You cannot tell the students at the university, just don't worry about studying, just do the final exam and away you go. Just get your degree. That's misleading. So it's misleading to tell people that you don't need to cultivate Krishna consciousness now. You just, when the time of death comes, you start then. I think that's pretty obvious. So let's see. My question is, I live in a village which is very far from ISKCON, so how do I get association of devotees? Okay. Well, you could move into Ujjain. You could move. So many people during their lives, they change their place of residence. Many people, they change country. You go to America, you go to England, and you find so millions of people from India. They moved to improve their lives, at least materially. So you could always move to Ujjain. But otherwise, you must get your communication system together. You can communicate by telephone with the devotees, and particularly if you get, some small computer or that sort of thing, then you can access the internet and associate with the devotees. There are Krishna conscious programs on the internet 25 hours a day. 25, not less. There's so much Krishna consciousness on the internet, you don't know where to go. There's so many choices. And I know in India, anybody can get access to the internet anywhere. So that's what I'd say. Let's see now, how to get rid of the envy so that we can pray nicely, even for those who we find difficulty to associate with, you could say. How do you get rid of envy? Well, first step, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You chant. And when you chant, you hear attentively. You chant nicely, properly. You don't try and do it too fast so it becomes some funny noise, but you actually chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then you hear it. This is attentive chanting. So we say sometimes that in in chanting, or in Krishna consciousness, there are 3 rules. Or in chanting, there are 3 rules. First rule, chant attentively. First rule in chanting, chant attentively. Second rule, chant attentively. And third rule, by all means, do your best to chant attentively. These are the 3 laws of chanting. Yeah. And if you follow those laws, your life will transform incredibly and quickly. So, and then you'll become free from envy. At least step by step, you'll become free from envy. And then you'll feel from your heart, you'll feel concern for these unfortunate other people who are struggling. Oh, really, it's like that. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you all. Bahut Dhanyavad. And Fir Milenge. We'll see you later. I am your servant. May aapka das hoon. I am your servant. So whenever I can be of service, you let me know, and I'll do whatever I can. TK. TK. All right. Thank you. Ki jai. Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj Ki jai. Okay, see you later. All right. So now I got to start. Huh? Nice program. Yeah. Oh, without light. Okay. TK. All right. All right. What? Mm-hmm.